Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Menahot, Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph 73A1. I did, and we're going to send it out. Yeah? Says the Gemara. Okay? Talmud Lomar. V'chol mincha asher te'afeh batanur l'chol bnei Aaron tieh ish ke'achiv. So we spoke about yesterday from the fact that it says l'chol bnei Aaron tieh, it's mashma that all the Kohanim are going to take a chelek in the mincha, and not that a Kohen is going to take a chelek gadol in the korban mincha, right? Korban instead of the chelek in the mincha. Meaning that they all take it equally. Meaning like this. Imagine right now a Kohen's going to come and tell you, listen, I'm going to take more from the barbecue, and you take from the flour offering. Right? It doesn't work. Right? They take it equally. So says the Gemara, the Kohanim, they call the Kohanim. So, yes. So Yachol lo yachleku menachot keneged zevachim. I would have thought to say that they're not going to be cholek the menachot like the keneged the zevachim shelo kamu tachtem bedalut. That we didn't find menachot instead of the zevachim unless it's going to be by aniyim. You remember we brought down by a korban olev yored that if a person is poor and he had to bring a chatat, it depends where he is. Does he actually go downwards and he has to bring a flour offering instead of it? Aval yachleku menachot keneged ofot, but you can do the menachot keneged ofot sharekamu tachtem bedalut because they are instead of it of dalut, meaning the highest level is going to be an animal, afterwards the birds, and afterwards the flour offering. So Talmud Lomar comes teach you v'chol naasa b'marcheshet lechol bnei Aaron tieh, the extra fact that it brings down minchat marcheshet by itself, and then it says lechol bnei Aaron tieh. It's coming to teach you that it has to be to every single kohen a chelek in the mincha, and they cannot divide their spoils even keneged korbanot ha'of. Meaning even if it's going to be the korbanot ha'of, you cannot come and get it. Right? That means they can't start switching around what they're actually taking. So yachol lo yachleku keneged ofot shalalu mine damim v'alalu mine kemachim. I would have thought to say that they cannot take the ofot because at the end of the day, ofot is dam. There's blood on the ofot, right? And the kemach, there's no blood. But yachleku ofot keneged zevachim. But ofot keneged zevachim you can. Shalalu v'alalu mine damim because they're both damim. Talmud Lomar comes teach you v'al machava lechol bnei Aaron tieh. That also you can't do that as well. Meaning one more time. Everybody look out, right? One more time. We've got Kohanim. The Kohanim are the ones that are going to have, whether it's going to be the leftovers from the flour offerings, whether it's going to be from the birds, right, or from the animals. Now, the Kohanim are going to be dividing things. So now, 1 second. I like a lot of meat. So maybe I should take from the korban, from the animal, right? And he doesn't care if he has a chicken, so he's going to take from the chicken. And he doesn't care if he has the bread, so he's going to start taking from the flour offering, right? What we're trying to say is that you cannot come, each one has to take from, that means all the Kohanim take equally. I cannot just come and say, you know what, I'm going to take an extra piece of steak, you take an extra chicken. Or I'm going to take an extra chicken, and you're going to take something else. No. They all come and they divide it equally. So at the beginning, right, okay, yeah. They can do whatever they want, right? Fine, afterwards they can do whatever they want, but at the time they have to divide it equally. So he comes and he says like this, he says, why? I would have thought to say that for sure I cannot do the kemach with the animal, because the kemach with the animal is way too far away. Because it's too far in the animal is up here for the rich people. The Benonim are going to be having the ofot, and then you have the poor people. The dalut is going to be it's too far up. So for sure I can't do from the animal to the menachot. But maybe I could do, and I cannot do maybe I could do from the birds to the menachot. Says the Gemara, no. Why? This is a blood. The birds have blood. The flour offering there's no blood. So he says, okay, fine. So maybe I could do the top two then, because it's one after another, and they're both blood. So the Gemara says, also you can't do that, right? He comes and he says, because since it says in the pasuk, V'al machavat, lechol bnei Aaron tieh, again, I cannot do that as well. So, yachol lo yachleku ofot keneged zevachim, shalalu asiyatam bayad, valalu, right? In the Gemara. Look, valalu mine kemachim, v'al machavat. Look in the Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. We're 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 lines down. 12 lines down. Yeah. Yachol, I would have thought to say, lo yachleku ofot keneged zevachim, shalalu asiyatam bayad, valalu asiyatam bekli. I would have thought to say also that I can't do the ofot and the zevachim, because you have to remember the korbanot ofot are done by yad, and the other ones are done bekli. How do you do the shchita? So on a bird, you do the shchita with your hand, with your finger, right, with your nail, right? That's the melika. And the other ones you're doing with a sakin, with a knife. Aval yachleku menachot keneged menachot, but you could do menachot with menachot. Elu asiyatam bayad, because all the different types of menachot you could do. Talmud Lomar v'chol mincha b'lulav Hashem lechol bnei Aaron tieh. The fact that it's extra written mincha belula, even the menachot themselves you cannot change. Meaning, for example, let's say I like the fried one or the rekikin, or you like the chalot, or each one. No, each one you have to split it equally. Afterwards, you're right. After you already get your portion, you want to come and you want to start doing mishloach manot, switching things. That's fine. But at the time of dividing it, everybody divides it equally. So says the Gemara, Yachol lo yechleku machavat keneged manacheshet v'manacheshet keneged machavat, because one of them is kasher, one of them is rach, one of them is hard, one of them is soft. But the two of them they're the same. For example, machavat keneged machavat or manacheshet manacheshet, you say yes. The chareva lechol bnei Aaron tiyeh. Again, it's written chareva. Chareva comes to teach you that you're not allowed to switch from one mincha to another mincha. Okay, meoto sug keneged zu. So therefore you can't do it as well. So yacholo yachleku bekodesh kodashim, aval yachleku bekodesh kodashim kalim. So I would have thought to say that you can't switch between a kodesh kodashim, right? Whether it's going to be a chatat or a nasham or things like that, but maybe kodashim kalim you could. For example, shlamim in a todah. Talmud Lomar comes to teach you, right? Lomar ish ke'achiv, right? Each one is going to be separate. Ve'imal todah keshem shen cholkim bekodesh kodashim, kachin cholkim be kadashim kalim. Okay, you're not going to switch in kadashim. So therefore, what we're trying to say over here is that you cannot switch even within Kadashim Kalim as well. When it says in the Pasuk, ish, so ish cholek v'afilu balmum, even if it's going to be a balmum, ve'en katan cholek, but a katan does not take parts of the korbanot, v'afilu tam, even if he's normal, which means, when it says ish, that means even a kohen balmum can take a portion of the animals and everything, but not a katan, even if he's not a balmum. Says the Gemara, hahu mi bal nafka. There we learn it from the word bal. Right? Mikol. What does that mean? Since it says v'chol mincha b'lula, it means, right, that mincha b'lula v'shem v'chareva. So says the Gemara v'apikte, we already used the word kol for Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. So he says, why? Because there he makes a gzera shava between the v'chol, when it says v'chol mincha asher tefa v'tenur, and the word v'chol, mincha b'lula v'shem v'chareva, we're learning that there's two different types of menachot. Right, that they're going to be the two different types. So therefore, you cannot bring, if you remember, half of one and half another. You remember we brought down by chalot v'rekikin that you can't bring half chalot and half of rekikin. That's why chalot and rekikin are two different species. That's why there was 10 and not 9. You remember in the Mishnah. So he says elahu min v'chol. There we learned it from the word v'chol. Okay, fine. Next says the Gemara. Ravina comes and he says like this: this din that they're going to eat the leftovers, the minchat omer, minchat knaot. Atya, they're going to come and they're going to bring it from the Tanya Levi, from that which Levi taught in a Braita. The Tanya Levi was Levi taught in a Braita. Kol korbanam lichol michatam uchol chatam uchol hashamam sheyashivu li. Why does it keep on saying kol? Right? It says kol korbanam, kol minchatam, kol chatatam, kol hashamam. Why do you need kol? So he says kol korbanam is lerabot log shel shemen shel metzora. That means even the shiraim is part of the matanot which are given to the kohanim to eat. That means the kohanim are able to have the log shemen of the metzora. One log of shemen. Remember, we drink a revi'it. A revi'it is a revi'it of a log. So that's 86 or 150 cc, 150 milliliters. And therefore, what we're doing is it becomes, how do you call this? So it becomes times 4. Okay, because that's going to be times 4. So he comes and he says, yes. So he comes and he says, that's a log shemen of the metzora. Okay, so he says, Sal kadaita chamina, I would have thought to say, min ha'esh katav rachmana, which means the Torah is writing down by matanot kiuna, so therefore it's mashma that the kohanim do not take a chelek in the shirei kodashim, which is going to be brought to the mizbeach, but not in the shirei alog. So Kamash Malan comes teach you kol korbanam, that even the shirei alug is given, so the leftovers of the log is given to the kohanim as well. So the kohanim get that oil as well, okay, of the mitzorah. Lechol min chatam. That was the next part of the pasuk. Remember, we come, what? No, זה רק הכהנים. לכל מנחתם. We're talking about now all the menachot. לרבות מנחת האור מנחת קנאות. So the call there is coming to include the מנחת האור and מנחת קנאות. They also get the leftovers. סלקא דייתא, meaning why? I would have thought to say ואכלו אותם אשר כופר בהם רחמנא, that when they eat it, it's a kapara. What is that? והי להתיר קטיה. It's not as a kapara. Meaning, I would have thought to say that kohanim only eat, when they eat it, it gives us a kapara. But here, the korban haomer is a permitter. It's not an eater. The mincha knaot is a permitter. It's not an atonement. You remember we said, what is mincha knaot? Mincha knaot is the sotah. So that's permitting her to her husband. What's minchat haomer? It's going for sfirat haomer. It's going to permit the chadash. So therefore, those are permitters. They're not atoners. So I would have thought to say, since it says v'achlu otam asher kupar bahem, that they're going to eat it to atone, that the kohanim only eat things which atone. But if it's going to be a permitter, the kohanim do not eat it. So Kamash Malan comes to teach you that you're allowed to eat it. Ve'idach nami, and he says the minchat kinaot is also levarer katya. It's not coming to permit, it's be mivarer whether she did an avera or not. Kamash Malan comes to teach you the word lechol minchatam, that's also going to be given to the kohanim to eat, even though it's not an atoner. Ulchol chatatam, the next one, lerabot chatat haof. When it says lechol chatatam, that comes to include a chatat haof, that also the basar of the off is going to be eaten to the kohanim. Now, why not? Saying it's a chatat, it's not an olah. So he says, salkada, I would have thought to say nevelahi. How did they kill the chatat haof? They did melika. If they do melika, it becomes a nevela. Kamash Malan comes to teach you that it's not considered a nevela, meaning even though they didn't actually do a real shchita with a knife and they did it with the melika, it's not considered a nevela, and therefore the kohanim are allowed to eat it. Ulchol hashamam, when it comes and it says ulchol hashamam, it's coming to include the hasham nazir v'hasham etzorah. So when it says the kol, remember every time that it's written kol, it's coming to include something. So it's coming to include the hasham nazir and hasham etzorah. The nazir brings a guilt offering and also the metzorah. Says the Gemara, hasham metzorah behed yaktiv be. He says, what are you talking about? Hasham metzorah, it's written mefurash. Ki kachatata hasham hu lakohen, it goes to the kohen. Why do I need the word kol to include that the kohen gets the hasham? It's written mefurash that the hasham metzorah goes to the kohen. So he says, no, you're right. Ella, it's only coming l'rabot hasham nazir ka hasham metzorah. The hasham nazir, which is like the hasham metzorah. He says, why? Sal kadai tachbina, I would have thought to say lachshir kati. It's only coming lachshir oto, to permit him to come and to become metamemet, to drink wine, to cut his hair. Kamash Malan comes to teach you that again they're allowed to eat it. Because if you remember, just like we had to add the permitters by the Menahot, we're adding the permitter by the hasham nazir. What is the last one? 1 second. What is the last one, which is going to be Asher Yashivu? So he says, when it says, right, one more time, this entire thing was a pasuk. Look at the pasuk. The pasuk says, זה יהיה לך מקודש הקודשים מן האש, כל קורבנם, לכל מנחתם, ולכל חטאתם, ולכל אשמם, אשר ישיבו לי. Right? All those things. That was in the Torah Ora Shalem Gimel. Right? The Torah Ora Shalem is a psukim. זה למטה. Okay? And on the bottom. Yeah. So go to Gimel. We just read that pasuk. So we just explained when it said, right, kol, right? When we said kol minchatam, right? Because each one was coming to teach you from the kol. So we came and we said, right, that we're learning, right, what is the kol for each thing. So we said kol korbanam was the log shemen of the metzorah. Okay, kol minchatam, minchata omer minchat knaot. Kol chatatam, what? I'm doing a chazara of the entire Gemara we just did right now. Yeah? Everyone, one more time. Go to the bottom in the Gimel. Bottom Torah Ora Shalem. Everybody go to the Torah Ora Shalem. Torah Ora Shalem is on the bottom of the right of the page. There is something which is called Torah Ora Shalem. Torah Ora Shalem brings all the psukim of the Torah, of the Bible, and of the Tanakh, of the thing in it. And if you look in Pasuk Gimel, it says, right, there's Gimel. It's the first wide line. The end of the first wide line. There's a Gimel. It says, Zeyelecha, right, Mikodesh Kodashim, Mina Esh, Kol Korbanam, Lechol Minchatam, Ulechol Chatatam, Ulchol Hashamam, Asher Yashivu li. Kodesh Kodashim Lecha Hu Ulvanecha. So the question was, why does the Pasuk say 20 calls? Right? Why does it call? So we just added it in. We said the reason why we needed a call, the first call for Kol Korbanam was adding that the Kohanim get the Log Hashem of Metzorah. The second call of Kol Minchatam is that the Kohanim are going to get Minchata Omer Minchata Knaot. Again, each one had a Havamina. Why not? Right? Because when it said, right, Minchata Omer Minchata Knaot, they're permitters. They're not atonements, because it says V'achlu otam asher kubar b'hem. Chol Chatatam is coming to include the Chatata off. Why? I would have thought to say it's a nevela. They can't eat it. No, the Gemara. We went. I'm going through the Gemara. I'm back in the Gemara. Ulchol Hashamam. We thought at the beginning was adding the Hasham Nazir, Hasham Etzorah. We pushed off Hasham Etzorah. Because the Hasham Etzorah was written mefurash in the Torah that it goes to the Kohen. So it's only the Hasham Nazir. Okay? And then now it goes to the end of the Pasuk, Asher Yashivu. The Gezel Ager. That's Gezel Ager. Why? He says, Lecha Hulvanecha. When Asher Yashivu means it's given to the Kohanim if they don't give it to the Ger until he dies. Right? Because remember, if the Ger dies, who takes his property? A Ger is a convert. Nobody in here, nobody. So therefore, the Kohanim are going to take it. Lecha ulvanecha, shelcha ulvanecha, afilu lekadesh bo isha, even to do kiddushin with it. Which means there's no kiddusha in the mamon of the gezel ager that the Kohanim take, but it's mamon chulin, which is now shayach to the kohanim, and therefore they could do whatever they want from it. So it's ki'ilu that nowadays usually the government takes money that there's no inheritors. So in the olden days it was the kohanim. The kohanim are the ones that are coming and they're going to be taking from the things. Ad kedei kach it's theirs that they could be mekadesh a woman with it, and there's not going to be any problem whatsoever. So Amar Ravuna comes and he says, look in Ayin Gimel Amud Bet 73b. It says Shalmei Ovdei Kochavim Olot. Right, the korbanot of the Ovdei Kochavim, the Mizagoyim, when they come and they bring a korban for shlamim, they are like going to be an olah, which means that it's completely kalil on the mizbeach. Remember, an olah is a burnt offering; everything's burnt. So that means even though they brought a shlamim as peace offering, we take them as an olah. So ibaitem akrav, ibaitem svara. So says whether you want, we could say we could explain it because it's a pasuk or it's a logic. Ibaitem svara. If you're going to say it's a svara, why? Oved kochavim libo l'shamayim. So since he only wants for the shamayim, so everything goes to Hashem. Nothing is going to go to the kohanim. If you want, you could say that it's going to be a pasuk. It says asher yakrivu l'Hashem le'olah. Kol demekarve, any korban that they are going to bring up, it becomes an olah. So therefore, whether it's going to be because of a pasuk, that it's mashma in the pasuk to do with bringing the korbanot. Again, this is asher yakrivu l'Hashem, that when they're going to come, they're going to bring for Hashem. This is kafbet yudchet. So where it says over there, Taber el Aaron ve'banav ve'el kol bnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem ish ish bet Yisrael only from Bnei Israel. So he comes and he says Hashem, which means that it's going whatever they're going to bring, the nochrim it's coming to include, it's going to become an olah. So Mativ Rav Chama Bar Guria Oved Kochavim Shinadev Lavi Shlamim ve'netanan liYisrael Yisrael ochlan netanan leKohen ochlan. Says 1 second, I've got a question. Here it says that if a goy came and he gave a shlamim, and he wants to give it to the Yisrael could eat it. But if he wants to give it to the Kohen eat it. So it's written mefurash that the shlamim of the kochavim, it's not doesn't become an olah. Somebody could eat it. The only question is who eats it. Is it the Yisrael or is it the Kohen? But not that it's an olah. So answers the Gemara. Amar Rava says hachi kamar. This is what it means to say. Al menat shit kaper ba'en Yisrael. If he gave it that Bnei Yisrael should have a kapara, then Bnei Yisrael are the ones that are eating it. But if he gave it to Menat Shit Kapera Kohen, that the Kohen should have a kapara, so then the Kohen is going to eat it. Meaning it's not for him, because if he brought it for himself, automatically it becomes an olah. We're talking about that he brought it as a kapara for somebody else. Okay?
Meaning we're shaliach.
Not a shaliach. I'm bringing it on somebody else's behalf. Not a shaliach. He's not a ger. He's a goy. And he's not a shaliach. He's bringing it on behalf of Yisrael that they should have a kapara. Or on behalf of a Kohen that he should have a kapara. But it's not a shliach. Mativ Rav Shizbi. If it's his, then it's an olah. Yeah. Mativ Rav Shizbi. Rav Shizbi comes and he asks from the Mishnah. Elu menachot nikmatzov v'shirel lekohanim minchat ovdei kochavim. These are the menachot which they're done the kmitzah. The shirehem, the leftovers, are going to be given to the kohanim. Minchat ovdei kochavim. So here it says minchat ovdei kochavim. So it's mefurash in the Mishnah that the korban that the goy is bringing, which is the mincha, is going to be nechal. Because it said, shirehen la kohanim. What is shiraim? Shiraim are the leftovers. To the kohanim. What's one of those? Minchat of the kochavim. How could you tell me that a korban of the oved kochavim becomes an olah? Here it's written that the korban mincha of the kochavim, right, is going to be given to the kohanim. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan answers, la kashya, it's not a question. Rabbi Yosef Galilei, Rabbi Akiva. There's a machlok between Rabbi Yosef Galilei and Rabbi Akiva. Tanya was learned in the Braita. Ish. When it says Ish mi bet Yisrael minager b'Yisrael shegivu lekorbanon lecholim v'cholim v'otam. Matamol. Why does it say Ish Ish? Lerabot et ovdei kochavim shnodrim nedarim dvarot b'Yisrael. He says it's coming to include the goy that he could do nedarim and nedavot just like Yisrael. Asher yakrivu l'Hashem leolah. When it says the continuation of the pasuk that he's going to bring in as an olah. En li ela olah. That's only an olah. Shlamim minayin. How do you know a shlamim? Tamul omar nidrehem. It's a neder. Toda minayin. How do you know toda? Tamul omar nivotam. Minayin lerabot ha'ofot. How do you know that they can bring even ofot? V'vayayin v'levona v'aitzim, or wine for the sachim, or frankincense and wood. Tamul omar nidrehem. Lechol nidrehem univotam. Lechol nivotam. Im ken, if so, right? Matamul omar olah. So why did it say olah? Olah ze prat lenizirut. This is coming to exclude korban nezirut. Right, that the goyim cannot bring a nazirut. That means according to Shitat Rabbi Yosef Galilei, a goy could bring any type of a korban. He could bring the shlamim, he could bring the todah, he could bring the ofot, he could bring yain, he could bring levona, he could bring etzim, he could bring everything except nazir. So that's the only one he can bring. These are the words of who? Rabbi Yosef Galilei. Rabbi Akiva argues and he says no. Asher yakrivu l'Hashem leolah en li ela olah bilvad. Says Rabbi Akiva, since it says Asher Yakivu Lashem Leolah, you could only bring an olah. Meaning, according to Shtat Rabbi Akiva, the only korban that a goy could bring is a korban olah. So you see that it's a machloket between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Akiva. So when we ask the question of the Shiurei Mincha, that's obviously going like Rabbi Yosef not like Rabbi Akiva. So says the Gemara, "V'hai prat lenezirut mehacha nafka." You just learned it. That means according to everybody, can he bring nezirut? No. Rabbi Akiva can't bring anything else anyway. But according to Rabbi Yosef, he could bring everything other than nezirut. He says what? You learn it from the pasuk when it says olah that it's only olah prat lenezirut. He says me'atam nafka. We learned it from another pasuk. It says in Parashat Naso, "The ben bnei Yisrael v'matalehem ish ki afli lenen nidol lazil Hashem bnei Yisrael nodrin ve'nod dekochavim nodrin." Meaning that since we make a drasha over there, that it says v'amarta ish, and there we're making a diuk that it's only a Jew that can bring Nezirut, and not a goy. So if I'm already learning the Nezirut from the pasuk of Nezirut, from Nazir, which is in Parashat Naso, right? Right after Sotah of Nazir. So if it's like that, so why am I learning it from the pasuk of Olah, which is going to be in Vayikra? I'm learning it from Parashat Nazir. So says the Gemara, if I only learned it from there, Havamina would have thought to say, Korban udolele, you can bring a Korban. But the Nezirut is chal on him. Meaning he cannot bring a korban Nezirut, but the Nezirut is chal on the goy. Kamash Malan comes to teach you that when it says only Bnei Israel are doing the Nezirut and not the goyim, there's no such thing as Nezirut at all on the goy. So Kemanaz lahadetnan. So who does it go like this? So we learned to the Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Shimon says Rabbi Shimon, Shiva dvarim itkinu bedin. There were 7 things that the bedin instituted. Vezu echamen, and this is one of them. Oved kochavim sheshalach oloto midinat hayam. Imagine right now a goy comes and he sends an olah from Medinat Hayam. V'shilach iman nesachea, and he sent nesachim with it. Krevim mishelo, you're going to bring it from it. V'im lav, and if not, krevim mishel tzibur. So then you're going to bring the nesachim from the tzibur. Lema, we're going to say obviously it's Rabbi Yosef or Rabbi Akiva. Meaning like this: if you're going to tell me right now that the goy is sending an olah, what happens with the nesachim that comes with the olah? So he says the money of the nesachim come from the goy, but if he didn't send the money of the nesachim, so it comes from the tzibur. So obviously that has to go like Rabbi Segel, because according to Rabbi Akiva, he only brings it's only olah. So says the Gemara, no, afilu temer Rabbi Akiva. Even it's going to be like Rabbi Akiva. Why? Olah v'chol chaverta. When Rabbi Akiva said that he could bring an olah, it's the olah and everything that comes with the olah. What comes with the olah? The olah nesachim, the wine libation with the nesachim. So it's the same thing. Even according to Rabbi Akiva, this is good. Fine. So says the Gemara, man tana, who's the tana that says the tana Rabbanan? Kol ha'ezrach yaseh kacha et ele. Ha'ezrach mevi nesachim. The Ezrach, which is like the one that's living in your country, right? The resident, he's going to bring the Korban Nesachim without the Korban. Just Nesachim, the wine libation. Ve'ena oved kochavim mevi Nesachim, but not a goy. So Yacholote olatot tuna Nesachim. I would have thought to say that it's not going to be requiring Nesachim for the Olah. Tamul Mar Kacha. So money, who is it? It's not Rabbi Segel, not Rabbi Akiva. Why? If it's going to be Rabbi Segel, he says you can bring even by itself. Remember, according to Rabbi Yosef Galilei, he said that even yain but levad hu yachol lavi. Right? He could bring everything, according to Rabbi Segel. And if it's Rabbi Akiva, I thought you told me that the olah, yes, but not nesachim by itself. So what's going on then? So this braita is not like Rabbi Segel, and it's not like Rabbi Akiva. So says the Gemara, it could be like both. It could be both. Why? If you want, you could tell me it's Rabbi Segel, same me'ahi yain, take away yain. Meaning that I want to say that really be'emet, yain for nesachim, you cannot bring, even according to Rabbi Segel. He agrees that when it says ha'ezrach, a goy cannot bring wine by itself. He could bring everything else, but not wine by itself. So therefore, it could go according to Rabbi Segel. If you want, you can answer another answer. Rabbi Akiva, olah v'chol chaverta. Rabbi Akiva holds it's an olah, and all those things that come with the olah, which is the wine libations as well, just like we answered before. Okay? Rabbi Shimon Omer minchat choteh shel kohanim. We're on the 2 dots on the bottom of the page. Rabbi Shimon just comes and he says that the minchat choteh of the kohanim is going to be nikmetzet, kmitza, and the komet shela is going to be brought on the mizbeach. Menah hanemile. So you see here it's 3 words, right? It's not 2 words, right? Actually, no. Here in our Gemara, it's actually 1 word. Everything is 1, right? But when they open it up, it's 3, right? Look in the Gemara says mem nun hey mem. That's menah hanemile. What we learned in sometimes they open up in 3 words, sometimes in 2 words, and sometimes in 1 word. So menah hanemile. How do we know these words? That what minchat choteh is going to be eaten by the kohanim. The Tanu Rabbanan is learned in a braita. Vaytal la kohen kam mincha. It's going to be to the kohen like a mincha. Shetei avodata k'sherabo. That means the kohen shechata, he could come and bring himself the minchat choteh shelo. So this is the chidush. That means the kohen himself could bring his own minchat choteh. אתה אומר שתי עבודתה כשרה בו, you're going to tell me that he could do the עבודה, או אין לו לעתיד. Maybe it's only going to be permitting for somebody else, מנחת חוטא של כהנים. ומה אני מקיים? So what am I going to be מקיים in the pasuk? וכל מנחה כהן, כליל תהיה לא תאכל. מנחת נדבתו, only the מנחה והנדבה, אבל חובתו תהיה נאכלת. But the מנחת חוטא is going to be נאכל. תמול לומר, והייתה לכהן כמנחה, מקיש חובתו לנדבתו, מה נדבתו אינו נאכלת, אף חובתו אינו נאכלת. Means like this. The chidush is that when I bring a korban mincha, the kohanim eat the leftovers. But if a kohen brings a korban mincha, nobody eats leftovers. It goes completely kalil to the mizbeach. So I would have thought to say that there's going to be a difference between a nedava and a chova. Nedava is a minchat, a kohen comes, he says, I'm bringing a korban nedava. What is it? Flour. Nedava, present. So he says, but there's a difference between that and a chova, that he was obligated to bring it. He says, no, there's a kish. We're being makish nedava to the chova. Just like the nedava is not going to be eaten by the kohanim, so to the chova is not going to be eaten the kohanim. So anytime that a kohen brings a mincha, kalil tiyeh, it's going to be completely consumed on the mizbeach. Amar Rabbi Shimon, says Rabbi Shimon, v'chi ne'emar v'ayita lakohen keminchato. It says v'lo ne'emar kamincha. Just says like the mincha. Ela lakish, we're making another ekesh. Minchat choteh shel kohanim keminchat choteh shel Yisrael. Just like the minchat choteh of Yisrael, it does the kmitza. So to minchat choteh of kohanim, it's going to do the kmitza. Just like the minchat choteh shel Yisrael nikmetzet, but it's going to be eaten. So to minchat choteh of kohanim, it's going to be nikmetzet, but it should be eaten. Tamul omar lakohen kamincha, that lakohen it should be velo kamincha. What does that mean? He's saying that it's to do with the kohen, only to do with the avodah, to do with the kmitza. But not like to do with the concept of the mincha, right? Which is like a mincha choteh shel Yisrael, which is going to be done the kmitza velo laishim, or not to do with the mizbeach kamincha haketzad. So how does that work? Kometz karev beatzmo v'shiraim krevim beatzmam. Meaning, I don't take the entire korban and bring it up to the mizbeach. I take off the kometz. I bring the kometz by itself to the mizbeach, and then I take the leftovers and I take the leftovers up to the mizbeach. So at the end of the day, in order to be mekayem both psukim, they're both going to be brought to the mizbeach, meaning kulo kalil, but it's going to be done two separate actions in order to bring it. You're going to do the kmitza by itself and the shiraim by itself, and then they both come to the mizbeach.